earGROUND Radio. New voices amplified. earGROUND Radio.
Welcome to earGROUND, New Voices Amplified. And today is the 1st of September, and we're coming out of August, a month that is dedicated to women in many countries. And as earGROUND, we want to celebrate women and get time to have some of the distinguished women that we have in different fields and talk to them about the things that they face, the things that they aspire for, and some of the things that women go through. And today in the show, I have three brilliant superstars, superheroes. I have Magda, who's the CEO at Nakai Cosmetics. And she does a lot of work in women empowerment and stuff like that. She will have to introduce herself and tell us more about that. And then we have Yvonne, who's a PhD student and also an author. She's popularly known for her book, The Why Inhuman is Silent, and the recent release, which is Grasping for Straws. And then we have Lady Tsitsidzashe Goto. She's a leader in many respects, a public speaker, but more importantly, she is a winner in a field that is mainly dominated by men. So these are three women that I have today. Welcome to the show, women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Today it's all ladies. I will just have to start wherever. There's no protocol here. So Titi, I will give you the honor of introducing yourself and what you do.
Okay. Hi everyone. So my name is Tsitsidzashe Goto, as is already said. I am a very passionate woman when it comes to seeing women getting into fields that are male dominated. So I am in the early stages of my career in industrial engineering. I just recently completed my master's in engineering at the University of Wits, where I graduated, I think, in July. Is that last month or the other month? Well, yeah. But then basically in terms of maybe career in a male-dominated industry, I'm an industrial engineer and that's what I do. And I'm passionate about women. That's a brief introduction about myself. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, then we'll come to you, Magda.
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Magdalene Lafonta. Everybody calls me Magda. I am the owner and founder of Nakai Skincare Cosmetics, which I began during COVID, believe it or not. The dream had always been there, but the birth of it happened during COVID. My background is in the health and wellness industry. I've been in it for almost 21 years now. And I am pretty sure you know this, Mr. BOAZ, how passionate I am about women empowerment. And I have learned to not be shy of saying Black women empowerment, because I need to stand my ground as a Black woman and also allow other young women to know that we can also pave the way. So I'm really excited for this opportunity today to get to know a little more about you ladies. And I'm so excited about you. You have no idea. I'm in goosebumps right now. I've read your bios. And I am honestly so privileged to be talking to you women today. And of course, the opportunity that we're given by Sir BOAZ. I can't wait. So thank you.
Yvonne.
Okay, now I wish I had gone first. So, yeah, they set the bar too high. So my name is Yvonne Maposa. I'm a lecturer in Cape Town and doing my PhD in food engineering. It's half food science, half chemical engineering. So I'm at the last stages of my PhD, and so you can already start calling me doctor for practice. And I'm an author, so I have 4 books out, 2 book series, 4 books out, part 1, part 2, part 1, part 2. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. And then I'm very passionate about empowering young women, especially vulnerable young women in Zimbabwe. I'm also not ashamed to say in Zimbabwe, because that's where I come from. I know the situation firsthand. So it makes sense for me to go with charity begins at home. So I'm not that big yet. So it makes sense for me to just help where I can, which is back home. So I do a lot of campaigns, mostly sanitary pads campaigns and feeding programs for child-headed families, mainly. So I focus mainly on the girl child, but obviously we always have extra, and then we can take care of other people after that. But the girl child first. So yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, coming to you, Magda, what do you understand about Women's Month? What is it meant to do?
Women's mind, did you say?
Women's Month, August.
Oh, Women's Month.
Which is dedicated
So what
to
does it
women
mean
in
to
many
me?
countries. Why
Wow.
do we need to dedicate a month and say that this is a month that is dedicated to women?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to sound like such a cliche or being biased, but yes, there is one specific month that we celebrate women, which I think is amazing. For me, the Women's Month is not more also of specifically just really trying to talk about, praising women. I think it's more about different awareness of the challenges that women are going through and also the celebrations of what women are achieving. So for me, that's what the month is about. But otherwise, when it comes to celebration, women are celebrated every single day. But for me, the specific month is more for allowing people to be educated about all the different facets that women might be finding challenges or also that they're also excelling in. So that's what Women Month means to me.
All right, Tsitsi, if you have a different view on that.
Well, for me, it's mostly in line with what she's said, really. And also, I feel for me, Women's Month is about embracing the strength that women have. It's about acknowledging that despite the number of years that we're lagging behind in terms of opportunities, in terms of access to opportunities in our lives, really, women are important, women are well able, women are capable. So I feel for me, it's a month to help people realize that. People that have not yet realize it, and those that have realized it, to make sure that they soldier on and still recognize that women are capable. They're not the weaker sex, but they're more than capable. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Coming to you, Yvonne, what did you do differently in the month of August in relation to it being a Women's Month?
I ran a successful sanitary pads campaign. So I raised 3,000 packets of pads for women in Harare, Bulawayo, Plumtree, and Esikotini. So that's what I did for women during Women's Month. That was my Women's Month campaign, because to me, I agree with everything that they said. But in addition, it's a reminder for us as women that we have to be our sisters' keepers. We have to have each other. We can't rely on men, so we have to have each other's backs. So that was my my motivation. So it was, okay, I'm going to take care of my sisters back home. So I did the sanitary pads campaign.
All right. Yeah, Titi, Yvonne just said something that women have to support each other and work together. But we know that most of the times it seems like women work against each other. Maybe where do you think this comes from, and what can be done to try and deal with that aspect of where women, when they are supposed to be collaborating, they seem to be pulling each other down?
I really feel like it starts from a tender age. I feel like we're taught that we're competing. We're taught that life is a competition. In class, you want to be position one. You want, if you know you're not gifted in academics, you want to be good at something, you want to be good at sport, and you easily compare yourself with someone else. So I feel like if ever we'll dismantle this whole competition aspect, I would think it should start at grassroots level as much as possible. But also considering that most people are already further on in life. If anything at all, I feel it's important to know what you're good at and to know that's the best I can do, but also understanding that there's someone who probably has the same desire as me to be where I am. Because I feel also it's privilege. The fact that you're now at a certain level, it becomes privilege to say, I can actually have 20 more girls getting to this level where I am. And it won't really cost you anything because you're taking out of the bag that you can now easily fill. But for someone, they can't fill the bag at all. So for me, I think it's a matter of acknowledging that life is not a competition because we all have different circles and different people we can influence. Yeah.
Magda, still on the same point, has culture, religion, media played any role in putting women down, in pitting women against each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite unfortunate. I was just thinking as Tsitsi was mentioning this in regards to finding your niche, right? What I always see in comparison to men, it's always about, okay, if I can do it, so can my brother, you know? And with women, it's like you say, Tsitsi, I think as we say, charity begins at home. This is something also that is more culturally of how you're taught that it's okay to praise someone else. It's okay to be behind somebody else's back, even if you're not at that level as yet. So I find in our African culture, it is a huge stigma, you know, that needs to end at some point in realizing that if Yvonne has written a book, guess what? We've all won because she is now a representation of an African woman and a Black woman, and not just that, a Zimbabwean woman. So I feel so proud. I was literally sharing your book last night with my friends. I was like, oh my gosh. And as I was sharing the book, I wasn't just sharing with just the Zimbabwean women. I was sharing with all women that are alike, that I know would also be able to praise. So on the religion part, I'm not so sure. I mean, obviously, there's some people that value religion more than culture, and there's some people that value culture more than religion, right? But all in general, as Tsitsi said, we definitely have come a long way in regards to doing and appreciating each other. And I think culturally it comes in the sense that women were never given a chance to do things, right? So now that women are at the forefront in doing it, we're still trying to find ways on dealing with it and seeing that it's okay if your sister has a PhD, and it's okay if you don't have the PhD, you know? I don't want to lie. I was like, whoa, when I read your bios, I felt intimidated. I was like, oh, I am dealing with phenomenal women. I'm being truthful, I'm being honest, you know, and I'm like, wow, they have a really good background and bio, right? But what happens is you don't think of yourself the same way, not realizing that other praising you too, right? So I think this is where it comes in realizing that you're enough as you are. Like you said, find your niche. And in finding your niche, and once we collaborate together, we become a force to be reckoned with.
Yvonne, maybe if you can, I know that you say so much on your Twitter, in your books, to women, religion, and culture. But now maybe on culture, what is it that the culture has done? Religion, particularly religion. We've said enough on culture. Religion has done to women. How are women portrayed, and what should change?
I wish I was as outspoken in real life as I am when I write, but my life would be so much easier. Okay, religion teaches righteousness, so I feel like it's a competition of who is holier than who. Like churches actually pit women against each other. Who is holier than who is sinning less? That's why you find out when you are okay. Like me, I go to church, but you've seen the things that I write on Twitter, and church people, like older women in church, who pull me aside and like, a child of God shouldn't talk like that. So church kind of boxes women. It kind of tells you must do ABC, which is not really their fault because, okay, I'll talk about Christianity. Christianity is very patriarchal. That's a fact. The Bible is very patriarchal, the man and the woman. So patriarchy affects us as women because we're all just down there and we just keep pushing each other down because you just need to find yourself like feeling better, but you really can't go all the way because there's all the men up there. So we're just down here all just suffocating one another. So religion, I feel like, has taken away that choice. I am a Christian before people would say I'm it's taken away the choice of deciding to be who you really want to be. I feel like it comes with a set rule. You have to do this, you have to dress like this, you have to speak like that. So that's how I feel religion keeps women down. But it's changing now. We have radical Christians.
All right. Yeah. Then let's get into feminism. I think it's one of the biggest topics probably in the last 2 or 3 decades. Some people accept it. Some people interpret it in different ways. Magda, if we come to you, how would you define or how do you understand feminism?
For me, feminism really is the right of an individual, regardless your gender, you know. And when we talk of right, it means you should be able to pursue in whether it be on a personal level of who you choose to be in your life, and also when it comes to work-wise as well, whatever industry you feel you want to aspire to be in, you should be able to be open to express that or to practice that. And really, it's also about independence, you know, being allowed to have the independence. And when I define independence, I think most of the times culturally, especially in the African culture, it's misconstrued, you know, of what we mean by independence. Independence is always defined as, oh, now you don't want to listen to the husband or to the man. Now you think you're higher than them. But no, independence for me basically means that I am confident and comfortable in who I am in order for me to aspire in the things I believe in. That's what I define as feminism.
All right. Tsitsi, what's your understanding on feminism?
My understanding of feminism would be, it's not about who's better than who, but it's about treating or looking at women in the rightful way or in the way that they really should be looked at and not really despising them. So for me, it then goes into areas such as the whole aspect of the gender pay gap. If I'm doing the same job as you, I should be paid the same because my contribution is pretty much the same. If anyone has had the chance also to read Chimamanda's book, We Should All Be Feminists, for me, it gives you a clear picture. And I've seen so many people, especially churches, say that feminism is wrong, feminism is bad, it's against the Bible. But I feel their idea of feminism or definition is not really what we are speaking about. And so feminism is, for example, when Adichie says she went out on a date with a friend, and then she gave the marshal a tip, but then the marshal thanked the male friend who was driving. Why? Because she thought he's the one who gave me that money, but it was her money from her purse. So what I'm saying is, I feel feminism is acknowledging that women can take up spaces regardless of them being women. Full stop, and nothing about men being less or women being more, but it's about fair treatment. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Yeah, Yvonne, if you can add anything on that.
Okay, so I agree with everything they said. My understanding of feminism is that it's not misandry. It's not the hatred of men. It's not, we're not saying all men should die and we remain alone. So feminism is, as they say, equal rights. We just want equality. Every woman should be free to be who they want to be. I should be able to choose my sexual orientation. I should be able to choose how I dress, choose my profession, and still get paid what I'm worth. I should be able to pretty much be whoever I want, freely express myself. As long as it's legal, I'm not breaking the law, I'm not hurting anyone. I just feel like that's what feminism is. We just want to be free. Because at the end of the day, we say we're free, but then you're being told you can't dress like this. How is that being free? You know what I mean? So I feel like as long as something is not legal, it should be up to a person to decide what they are. That's
Okay.
what I feel like feminism is.
All right. Yeah. In most of these feminism campaigns or causes, most of the times it's women who are talking to men, and most of the times men never have an opportunity to participate in those platforms. So I think maybe feminists or everyone who's pushing feminism find a way to involve people that you think are sustaining the system that is against you, because most of the times it feels like we are attacked, so we want to defend ourselves.
To retaliate, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
but here's the thing,
But
though. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, Yvonne. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, in every movement, there are extremists. And I do, as much as I understand why it's necessary to be extreme sometimes to get things done, I personally don't believe in being extreme. I know you follow me on Twitter. I always try and include men when I talk about feminism because the term feminism has been so misunderstood that many people will say, I'm not supporting this because all they think we're saying
Yeah.
is we hate men, you know. So I've always tried to include everyone and be like, you know what, this is actually what we mean to say. We're not trying to be better than you, we're not trying to kill you, we just want to be women and freely women. That's what we really want. So like you're saying, because most people will come attacking men, all those statements, men are trash and all that. Then men feel attacked, and just like men are human, so they'll obviously feel the need to defend themselves, you know. So I personally don't come from that standpoint. I come from let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Let's leave our emotions aside. Let's use logic. Let's talk about it. But unfortunately, that's not what every feminist does.
All right. Magda, you had something to say?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think it also comes on the part of actually men really and genuinely asking what it means to us, what feminism means to us, because as you said, everybody has their own definition. Obviously, the three of us ladies here, we're in tune with what we're saying. This is just it's a natural occurrence with women. But when it comes to the men's side, we all know that the women's mindset and the men's mindset is completely like it's tuned, it's wired differently, right? So I find that, I have talked about this, the whole terminology that I use to my male friends, hold the blanket. When the women are holding their blankets out there and saying we're being raped, we're being abused, are you comfortable enough to also hold that blanket and say, men, stop abusing the women, stop raping the women? Are you comfortable with that? And so I find that if men also give themselves a chance in understanding where some women are coming from when they define what feminism is, it makes it a whole lot easier for women not to then feel the need to possibly attack them or maybe make remarks in a different way. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Tsitsi, do you have a contribution to that point?
No, really, I'm good with what they said. I'm good with what they said.
All right. Yeah. Then I will come to you, Tsitsi. You raised something on the pay gap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are at school together. We get our industrial engineering masters in July. You fall pregnant in August, and then you cannot be there at work and learn the things that I learned because you are pregnant, and then you will take your maternity leave, then you will be completely out of work, which means if we're the same age, we have the same qualification, as a man, somehow I will always be a nod or two ahead of you because of the biology that is involved. So I don't think pay gap can be just painted and said because they're doing the same thing, you're men and women, you should get the same type of pay.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. But however, I'll firstly say one thing I feel society has done is that it has undermined the ability of the woman. It has undermined our strength.
Yeah.
So what they don't acknowledge is we go through a system where I'm expected to do chores at home. I will make sure I cook, I will do the dishes, but I'm still going to study for that test, and I'll still pass probably better than my male counterpart in that same class. So what am I saying? I'm saying, yes, let's embrace the biology. That's exactly it. I'm going to get pregnant, but don't take that as something that has become a disadvantage for me, because I'm still well able and still capable. I can still catch up. I can still do well. I remember on Twitter recently, there was a conversation about young girls or teenagers who get pregnant whilst they're at school. And while there are people that are saying, no, they shouldn't go back to school, they won't manage, they won't. But what people do not acknowledge is still, no matter what, we're well able, we're capable. All those opportunities should be presented to us because we still can. So really, the whole idea of the pay gap, honestly, if I come back from my maternity leave, which I'm entitled to, I believe there's so much ground I can still cover. I can cover ground that I lost in, I'll say, let's just say 3 months. All that can be done. So I feel it's nothing that people can dwell on and call it a justification for the gender pay gap, because that is not a very good basis, really, in my opinion. And also sometimes also it's not really based on the fact that I eventually got pregnant or they're thinking I will get pregnant, but sometimes it's just because they think, well, I don't know. Okay, maybe I don't know what the justification is. Maybe ladies, you've come across and you've been given a proper justification why your male counterpart earns more than you. I'm not too sure. I don't know if you ladies have before.
All right. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'm like, how do I begin this? Okay, so the whole pay gap thing and the whole maternity, paternity, I live in a country, I live in Canada, right? And in Canada, they actually allow, I'm in the province of Ontario, and in Ontario, I get 1 year maternity leave, right? Paid, right? And then in Quebec, which is like the French side, they get 18 months of maternity leave, right? Guess what, ladies? In this year, and Mr. BOAZ, in this year, I could have shared the time with my husband as I needed or wanted, right? But first of all, culture, religion, society makes you feel like you are not a mother and you're such a bad human being if you leave your child at home whilst you go back to work. So that on its own also gets to affect that whole pay gap. And really and truly, men do not think about this because this is where the push factor comes in. It's always about, oh, you're here. And even some other women, they make other women feel bad when you've gone back to work and your child is 3 weeks old. But this child also has a father. So the father can take care of the child too, you know, but supposedly cultural wise and society wise, oh, that is just unheard of. Like, Tsitsi, you cannot do that, you know? So then Tsitsi stays home for a year and surely things are going to change a lot. Work-wise will shift. A whole lot of positions may change in that year, but it doesn't mean that she's any less, right? It just means that she's taken a year to take care of her child, and when she comes back, she can catch up however she can best. But that shouldn't be a measure as to how much one person gets compared to the other. Tsitsi already mentioned it. Like, imagine the woman, according to culture and society, still has to clean, cook, do all of it, right? And then still has to study and do all that. I have never seen a man saying, oh, you know, but the women are doing all these chores and everything from home and coming to work. The first thing that every man says is, you're at work now, suck it up. We're not talking about home. Don't bring work.
Yeah.
Right? And guess what? And women do. They actually don't. They soldier on, they do their job, but still that pay grade is still not what Tsitsi is going to get, is not what BOAZ is going to get. It baffles me.
All right, let me be the devil's advocate. Still on the pay gap. While Yvonne was away, on a maternity leave. As a male person who remained at work, I managed to bring in $1 million. So because of that, my salary went up because of the contribution I made, but it didn't benefit someone who was not there because they were taking care of the baby. When she comes back, I'm a few hundreds of pounds above what she is, and that will almost stay like that because I will rarely leave work for anything by design, depending on where you are. Or let me give you another example. For example, of American football team, the male and the women's team, they don't earn the same, and the women are complaining. They want to earn the same amount as the men who are playing for the national team. But here are the things that are involved. When a man goes out to play, the stadiums are filled. There are more advertisers who come in, so they are already making more money before we look at what the football match for women will attract. So sometimes I don't think it's because people hate women.
So, BOAZ, tell me this then. Why are the stadiums not being filled? So I'll give you an example, right? Tennis. Soccer, women's soccer, they don't make as much money for sure. And I'm a sports fanatic. Tennis, they do make a lot of money. Still not the same as the men, but they're up there, right? Endorsements, everything. Like Serena Williams is one of the highest paid female athlete in the world, right?
Yeah.
Great. So you just say that the stadiums don't fill up on women. Who is the cause to this?
Are women watching each other because there's men fanatics before and watching football? They're still the majority of fans in football.
It's the men that need to bow up towards women and support. That's what it is, because sport is sport. If you can go watch American football, you know, I'm going to sound so ignorant right now. I actually didn't know that there's female American football. I'm being honest. You just schooled me today. I was not aware of that, right? I've known in all the other sports, but I actually didn't know that American football was also had a female team. And the fact that you've told me this, now I'm going to go look it up and see how I can play my part in supporting.
Yeah.
The thing is, it always comes down, I'm sorry to say, mostly with the men. Like you just said, if it's the men playing, the stadiums get filled up with men and women. Of course, the ratio is always going to be more men than women. But then my point is, are you able to hold the placard, Mr. BOAZ, and say, men, let's go watch these females play?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with doing that?
Yeah, I think I am. I will want to see them play. Yeah.
If you say
Can I give
so.
you another example?
Sorry?
Like, can I paint for you another scenario for you to better understand? What you just said to me sounds like, okay, I live in South Africa. Sports like rugby are mostly white people sports, right? Like when you look at the team, it's made out of mostly white people. So are you saying that the black players should be paid much less because when we advertise using the black player, they're not going to attract a lot of people because their communities don't generally watch rugby, so they should be paid less, even though we know the reason why. These are remnants of colonialism. We know why it's happening. So should we just stay oppressed and just accept that, you know what, we're oppressed, we never got a chance, let's just stay there? Shouldn't we do something and level up? Because to me, that's the same. The women's stadiums are not filled because it's a new sport to women. All along, it was a male sport. So we are still catching up. So are you saying because we are behind, we should just stay behind? Like,
Okay, since the sport is still catching up, where does the finance come from to then equal the pay gap? Because we know where the money is coming from in a male-dominated sport. That money comes from the TV rights, the advertising and stuff like that. That money is being generated by doing the sport. But it's not the same thing. When women are doing the same thing, they don't attract as much money. So the pay gap
Because
that
it's coming
exists
from
now,
the men.
don't think
It's
it has
all
to
coming
do
from the
with the
men.
men. It's about
Yes,
how much is that particular sport making.
it should
But
come from
then,
the man.
yeah, and I'm also thinking sometimes it really depends on who's in the positions of influence,
It's the
because
man.
what are they willing to put in to make it work? I feel it's about a brand. You market a brand, you make it look so lucrative, you make it look, you know, desirable and stuff, and all those things. So if it's about that, then whoever is in power, which is likely men, I'm just joking, but I mean, I'm not really sure about that. But I feel it's probably the responsibility of whoever sits in the committees and everything to make sure that it matches up to the level to which the Premier Soccer League for men is. So I think it's also about putting in the necessary work for the women's league to get to that level. So work needs to be done because we're lagging behind. Like, it has to be done. That's the honest truth. So the responsible people should put in the work and market it and make it work. Make it as attractive as knowing that the men's Man U and Chelsea are playing. Like, I don't know how, but I feel it's possible and it should be done if they
Yes. Sponsor it
want
until
money.
it makes its own money.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry, can you come again, Yvonne?
I'm saying they should sponsor it until it can make its own money. So bring it
Yeah.
up to the level of Manchester United so that it can generate its own money.
Okay, yeah. The debate on this one can go on forever. But yes, I understand. I hope that you can be more fair in paying people in whatever field. It really does affect sometimes because they're a woman, sometimes because of the color of your skin. So it's a problem that's there in the world in different fields. So I'm not denying it, women. Please don't beat me up. Yeah. And then we move on to equality. There is complaints or causes, people saying they should be 50-50. I remember back in the days, Mandoza, the late great South African singer, did a song, Let's Go 50-50, saying women and men should go 50-50. What do you understand about this? How do you interpret this equality?
I this is gonna I'm not a 50-50 kind of girl.
Yeah.
And let me explain myself. Sometimes it can be 80-20, sometimes it can be 20-80, sometimes it can be 60-40, and sometimes it can be 50-50. I'm not going to stand here and say everything should be 50-50 because realistically it cannot. The amount of weight that my brother, my nephew, or my husband could possibly carry off a bag of bricks is not the same as what I'll be able to carry. I will certainly try, that's for sure. But the reality is I might reach a point and he might actually go further than I did, right? So this whole 50-50, I think it's completely generalized, which is not the case when it comes to equality. I think for me personally as a woman, my 50-50 comes in and saying, give me a chance and try in a field of chemical engineering or in you name it, that I feel I have the aspiration to become, right? Don't make me feel bad if I earn more than a man. It doesn't make him less of a man. It just takes being team players. So for me, these are all the things that comes in with equality. Allow my voice to be heard in a boardroom and not just think that, oh, you know, she was on maternity leave. She's probably thinking about how her breast feels so sore from breastfeeding, because this is exactly what takes place, right? So for me, the whole 50-50, it comes in the sense that give me a chance on the things that I feel I aspire to become and be, and it should be okay. But in reality, the 50-50 is never going to happen, right? Like in regards to everything, it's impossible. That's why there's a male and a female, right? As in, that's why we have different genders. But when it comes to roles, for me, equality is in don't make me feel ashamed, don't make me feel bad, don't make me second guess myself if I want to aspire to be someone or to do something.
Yeah, Titi, what would be your understanding on that?
I'm definitely 100% with Magda on this one, because I really feel it's more about access to opportunities. You know, I know men, for example, for men, it could be normal. If someone thinks of an engineer, like now, if I would say think of an engineer, you'll think of a guy in an overall and a hard hat or something. My point is, you thought of a male person. So my point is, equality speaks of when we ever get to a place of society where when someone says the CEO and you're like, oh, he or she, like you should be able to realize that still women are capable and there should be access to those opportunities. Because to this day, I feel there's certain tables that you sit on and you think, okay, why am I still the only girl? Like it's just so weird. I had a very rude awakening in my life. I was at an all-girls high school, boarding school. When I went for my A-level, because I was doing physics, I was in an all-boys class and I was the only girl. That was the rudest awakening for what is ahead of me. But the reason why most of the people I was learning with at my secondary school for O-level did not want to take up physics was because it's for guys. It's hard. Only guys can handle it. And it's those kinds of things that we want to deal with when we talk about equality. We want women to have an understanding of the fact that I can access this opportunity. I'm well able to do this. I have access to it. I can do it, and all those things. So I feel equality is changing also our perception and how we think around those issues about gender and male and female and all those things. So yeah, for me, that's really it.
All right, Yvonne, what would you say on equality?
They said everything. They really said everything. I would just say we're really never going to be equal like everyone, because there's religion at play, there's culture at play. So different cultures come with different roles for women, and so we'll never really be equal. It will all depend on what you believe in, and if what we preach freedom, we preach feminism. So we are saying a woman should be free to do whatever she wants. She should be able to choose to be a housewife, and that's okay. To someone else, that's not equality because the man is providing 100%. But it's okay because we said every woman is free to be who they want to be. So in these movements, sometimes we end up contradicting ourselves, because I'm saying be free to choose. Then you choose to be a second wife, stay at home, have your 10 kids. But I'm saying, no, you need to work and make your own money so you can pay your own way. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I just stick to, you know what? Give us opportunities. Let it be my choice to be an engineer, and let it be my choice not to be. Just don't close that door for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I choose to be a housewife, it's fine, but I had the opportunity to choose otherwise. It wasn't the only way. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Magda, we're talking about equality here. And then in the African culture, I still have to go and pay my 10 cows. How am I expected to be equal when I have been the one who's been asked to sacrifice what I have earned, maybe from the time I finish school to the time when I decide to get married? And then there are also lots of monies that go with the 10 cows that they ask for, and other expenses for the wedding. Sometimes it's almost always a burden on the man. How then am I expected to be equal to someone I paid for, because they say I paid? So
Okay, so here's the thing. It comes back to what we're talking about in regards to the whole 50-50. This is where now you play 80% and I play 20, right? Because when you look at it, I'm just saying, well, first of all, on a serious note though, you know, this whole lobola thing and paying off the cows and everything, obviously it's a cultural choice, right? If it had been left to me, I'm going to give a backlash to this. If it had been left to myself, I wouldn't have cared for my husband to pay the cows and what he did. And by the way, my husband is not Zimbabwean. He actually adopted my culture and paid the cows and did all these exchanging of clothes and you name it, right? He went through the whole procedure. Great. But what I cautioned and what I made sure my family understood was that I'm not trying to get sold here. So let's be reasonable, right? So I think that's really what it comes down to. It's not really more about, 50-50 thing and you doing this. It's more of how much also does the person that you're getting into a relationship respects you? Because if you know what the future holds, you shouldn't have to be paying 50 cows, $15,000, which is a down payment for your future home. It makes no sense because then it brings resentment. It brings all this thing of like, I'm above you, you're here. So honestly, it really comes down to how much respect you have for each other. And at the end of the day, you get to stand the ground. In Shona, we have this statement that says, "Haundi bururu tsire shiri yangu," right? So meaning my parents are not going to be the ones who are going to make my guy go away or disappear or resent me because of how much they supposedly want. So that's just one part there of description when it comes to lobola and all that we cannot unfortunately generalize everything in regards to 50-50. Yeah?
All right, Titi. The Gotos expect those cows when you get married.
And they're definitely going to get them. Okay. I'm with Magda on this one. I really feel going back to culture, because we also want to remain in what we believe is culturally right, or how we were brought up right. But however, one major problem I have maybe with society today is that they've made this a money-making scheme. They've made it I've got a plan for us to finish the house, or I've got a plan for us to put that ceiling. We're going to charge you money, and that money that he pays is going to cover for that. But in actual fact, we know that lobola in history is considered a token of appreciation. And being a token of appreciation is about creating relations and all those other things. So I'm a really huge fan of a girl telling her family outright that this is about a token of appreciation, and you're going to charge my husband something that reflects that he is saying thank you for taking care of this child, or something of that sort. So I'm a really huge fan of letting the family know that, okay, you know what, we're going to do this in a civil manner. We're not trying to make money out of this. After all, these are people that also want to build their own life and make a living in general. So I mean, I'm for lobola 100%, but I'm not for using it as a way of making money as a family. Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, Yvonne, would you help man give him 5 cows from the money that you have, because he can't raise the 10 cows. At home they want 10 cows, but he has 5 cows money. Would you give the 5 cows because you have the money and you want to get married? If not, why?
If you can't provide for me before marriage, what's gonna happen after we're married? Well, no, I would never pay lobola for myself, because I feel like that's opening a big room for disrespect. Like, don't do it yet if you can afford it. There's no rush, or let's negotiate around your budget. But I'm not going to pay for my own lobola, because we're going to be fighting, and you'll be like, I didn't even want to marry you. You paid lobola for yourself. We know those payments get thrown around a lot. So I'll never pay to get married. I'll never pay a man to marry me. No, I would rather die single. Anyway, I'm from a reasonable tribe. I don't know how other tribes do it firsthand. We just see the few cases in the newspapers where they just charge ridiculously. But I don't know what the standard practice is. I'm from the Kalanga tribe. It's very small. We're from Plumtree. Our lobola is very reasonable. It's a token of appreciation. We all know lobola is not insult into slavery. It's and they don't even care. Like if someone marries me now, my parents won't bring that. Oh, she has a master's degree. She has this. They won't bring all that up, because it's really, what's the PhD really doing in the marriage? Like, is it gonna make me make more children because they're more educated? Like, what's the point? So they're not going to bring all that. Oh, she did this. So it's a token of appreciation, and there's standards like you already know what they'll charge you. There's like the cow for the mother, this. You already know that. And I don't know about other cultures, but in ours, you don't pay all the local. They'll charge you 10 cows, you only pay 5, and that's it. Like it's actually taboo to pay all of it. Then maybe when I have a child, you bring another cow, something like that. You just don't pay all that. So I'm all for Lobola. Lobola should stay, but we should stop selling women. And I wanted to say, I feel like as a woman, you have to look for red flags. I think that's what it's called. If I'm dating a man who's already entitled to me, who feels like he owns me, or who makes those statements, I'm not going to give him the power of paying Lobola for me, because now he's really going to own me. It's just that sometimes I feel like because of society, I blame church and society, so religion and society, for making a woman want to get married by a certain age. So you end up just marrying. So you ignore all the red flags so I can just get married. And yeah, you end up in those kind of situations. And then when you find yourself in those situations, because of that religion and society, you won't leave. Like you stay there. Then you end up with miserable women. So I don't like that.
All right. Yeah, I think marriage has been put across as an achievement for most women. Most women, when they reach 25, they usually get under pressure. I'm not even in a relationship and stuff like that, which I think, yes, it is a societal problem that should be fixed, and people should not be under pressure, because you can be married and be miserable. You can be single and be happy. So it really shouldn't be a standard for success in any society. Yeah. Then going on, what are some of the things that as women you would say, this is one thing that I would want addressed by whoever is a problem that you think this is a problem that is close to my heart? If a society can rally behind me to try and do this, maybe if you can start with you, Magda.
Wow. I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, there's a lot. So I think, first of all, I'll speak as Zimbabwean, and on how passionate I am about the girl child. What I want to say is it starts at a young age. This is something that we did not necessarily grow up being exposed to, right? And I mean, it's not all of us. I was lucky enough that my parents were very liberal, right? So they always did the complete opposite to what the rest of the family did. And I appreciated that because it made me who I am today. But when it comes to speaking up and a girl child being able to feel comfortable in who they are, it needs to start at a young age. We can't leave it to when they're 16 or when they're 18 or when they're 21. There's so many conversations that are not expressed or discussed with the girl child from a very young age, even in the sense of understanding your own body, which is something that I talk about a lot with the young girl empowerment sessions that I do. Like, a girl got to understand their own body. I know I'm probably going a little bit off topic, but it's in the sense even of my 8-year-old. I don't force her to hug every single person that comes in my home. It's if she wants to, so it's all about empowering and starting at a young age and letting a girl know that it's okay to feel how you're feeling. And this is something in our culture that is missing so much. It's all about, no, be quiet, don't speak up, you're too young. You're never too young for your own body. Yes, if you're 2 years old, but at 5 years old and 6 years old, they start understanding things. So I feel like at different levels, we need to start educating a girl child on empowering themselves. And empowering yourselves comes in so many different definitions. People just think that empowering means education. It's not just education. Like we talked about, it means a lot. Protecting yourself as a girl, like protecting your own body as a girl, that is also part of educating someone and understanding how the world works. So if I was to be given a magic wand today, honestly, it would be about empowering a girl child starting as young as 4 years old. Like seriously, from when they understand who they are as an I'm a girl and this is a boy, I want them to understand of the capabilities that they have and what's out there for them.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Tsitsi?
For me, it would be about, okay, so one thing that I struggled with in general in my journey was finding a mentor who studied industrial engineering, who I can look up to, who's in industry, who's doing well in industry, who has whether rose the ranks or is doing quite well. That's one thing I've had a very difficult time having. So if I could change something or if I could do something, especially in Zimbabwe too, for me, it would be having a society where a place where young girls can have people to really look up to. I'm not talking about there's I'm not going to bad talk anyone, but I'm saying there are managers sometimes that, she is cruel. She's not too friendly.
Yeah.
Even if you're an intern there at that organization, she doesn't give you that wing to say, you're a young woman. I know what you're likely going to be going through. I know when you walk into the manufacturing plant, all the 20 people that are in the plant are looking at you and thinking, that girl, or saying certain things about you, and they take you under their wing. So if there's something that I am passionate about and I would love to really see is to see such a community being established where a young girl who says, okay, I'm doing biology, you get to see someone who is showing you where you can be, not necessarily in industry, in all fields, in academia, in every aspect. So for me, it's about people that speak, because those people are there, those women are there, but some of them are quiet and they're silent about their lives and they live their lives quietly. But I'm passionate about people that step out and speak so that they can inspire someone, because I really feel that's exactly what we need as society if we're going to work towards empowering women, especially in the field of STEM. That's one thing that I'm passionate about. So if there's one thing that I would do, I would really work towards that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think it would be a good thing to have more women standing with each other and telling each other that this is possible. Like most women that I come across, or most women that I've spoken to, they have been victimized one way or the other, whether by women or by men, just because they're a girl. People don't seem to believe that women can do this, especially if you're in a field which is male dominated. No one believes that you can do this. So I believe that support is necessary. Yeah, Yvonne, what is that one thing that you would want?
One, I have 20. Okay, I'll just summarize. One, I would want people to continue supporting my pet campaign because they've been really helping a lot. Like I started from 1,000 and the last one I raised 3,000 in 5 days. Like that was big. And I'm not even registered yet. I'm going to register my NPO soon. I hadn't done it yet. But people just came together and everyone was donating. So I'd like that because it's really helping the girl child. Secondly, what Magda said about teaching the girl child about her body, things about her body. I was involved in writing a Vagina Monologue.
Yeah.
Really? You were?
Yes.
I loved it.
I contributed to Vagina Monologue.
Oh my gosh.
So that was big. And that was like, this is what we should do. We should talk about our bodies. We should have power over our bodies. When you talk about it and you know it, you have power over it. No one can use something against you when you know about it. You know what I mean? So we must teach our children about that. That's why I was involved in that project. Thirdly, I would like to, if I could, I would make all women just, like root for one another, just be nice to each other, just support each other. If that would be in an ideal world. But I don't know if I'm fortunate or not, but I have received a lot of support from women. I'm not even going to lie. Most of the people who support my books and my campaigns are women, you know, not just like monetary, but just a good message here and there, just a retweet here, there, just a word of advice, just support. Or when people, Twitter, you get trolled. So when you're being trolled, women stand up and be like, no, you can't body shame, you can't do that. So I have had good encounters with most women. So yeah, that's a good privilege. But I would want all of us to understand that united we stand, divided we fall. The system is already against us. We have to stand together if we're going to beat it. We can't be fighting amongst ourselves and still trying to win together. It's not going to work. And the other thing, she already covered the STEM. I feel like if I could, I would do more for the rural child. I was born in the rural areas. I know the situation. There are no teachers. You get to high school. I didn't do my high school there, which might be the reason why I managed to make it out. I had to go elsewhere. But if I went to Mambale High School, there'll be no maths teacher. There'll be no chemistry teacher. So like you can't, like there's already that block. You're not going to do ABC in life. You can't, even if you want to, because you're never exposed to it. So if I could, I would do more. Unfortunately, I know it's really not possible because of the economic situation in our country, but it's a wish. And yeah, I just like seeing Black women winning. I really, really, really like it. And if I had money, I would help women publish their books. More women publish their books. So yeah, I would
All
do
right.
that.
All right. I hope that all of you ladies come to a place where you're able to do the things that you aspire to do. And then on a lighter note, Magda, would you ask out a man? Do you think it's okay as a woman? No one should be stopping you to highlight someone and tell them how you feel as a woman.
Um, I have a very strong personality and I am not ashamed at all. Everybody that knows me so well, they know that this is who I am. Even when I met my husband, I was like, okay, you're good looking. I could date you. Straight up.
All right.
It's
All
not
right.
it's not an issue for me. And I always so happen to be the wingman with my girlfriends, and I'm the married one. Like I don't even know how that works. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, BOAZ, it comes down to the whole society and culture and religion. That just makes everything so awkward. And listen here, I am all about my culture. I firmly believe in it. I respect it. But at the same time, you got to give in a little, like there's got to be a little bit of giving in, because if you come out there and if you tell a boy that you like him, God forbid, my grandmother will probably have a heart attack, because that is supposedly the way that we're not raised. A woman is just supposed to sit there and wait for the man. But again, it comes down to allowing a woman to know that she can speak for herself, right? So these are the things that we're talking about, of teaching these Black girl child from a young age to be expressive of who they are. And then it leads into different facets in life, and choosing engineering like Tsitsi, this is where all it starts. And then of course, asking a guy out. I have no problem with that. I don't think it's shameful. I actually think that a lot of people are missing out on their soulmates because they're waiting. Meanwhile, God is like, put him in front of you, make a move. So that's my take.
Titi, would you go for him?
Yeah, I'm a very huge fan of shoot your shot. Like, okay, this is my policy in life. Like, if I want to try out an opportunity, believe me, I am applying for things sometimes, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, you never know. I mean, let's do this, let's do that. So, like, asking a guy out is definitely one of those things. I would. I'd be like, yo, I like you, or whatever. I don't know, but actually, I would. If I really liked you, and you aren't taking any action or whatever, I would shoot my shot without any regrets.
I like that. Shoot your shots.
Yeah, Yvonne, you
No.
seem like you're not feeling this one.
No, I would never. I know I would never. The thing with me, I'm not even gonna blame culture or whatever. It's my personality. I know I'm very outspoken when I type online. People think, oh, the girl behind this keyboard. It's just a keyboard warrior. Just in real life, I'm quite timid and I'm quite shy and I'm quite you know. So I would never have the guts. I would probably just look at the person and like, should I write him a letter? Maybe position myself in a way he can see me and decide if he also likes me, but I would never shoot my shot. I would never have the courage. So yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
missing out. My soulmate is probably out there waiting for me.
Yeah, all right. I hope we will get comments, people, women, how you feel, or men, how they feel being asked out by a girl. Coming to me, I was asked out by a girl back in the days. I ran away for a month.
I asked
So
that question on Twitter. The responses were interesting from men.
yeah, the thing is, I didn't feel the same way with this person. At the same time, I didn't want to break their heart. So
and most men say they would say yes because they don't want to be rude. I was like, that's cruel.
no, I didn't say yes. I
No,
had
not you. I mean other men. And
to
I'm thinking that's
run, and
cruel.
then when I finally got the gas to go, then I told her that no, this cannot work, you know. But it felt awkward really because a friend of mine, Wusani, laughed at me. He laughed the whole month. He laughed at me. Maybe if I had thought about it, maybe I could have said yes. But Wusani put me in an awkward space. Your ego would be bruised, and like this guy is laughing at me. So I don't know how much we've changed now, and I don't know how men feel now. So maybe if men can also comment on that. How would you feel if a girl asked you out? Would you still give them the value that they have? Because sometimes they say, she's cheap because she's asking men out. So this is all the time that we had, ladies. So maybe your last words before we round up. Magda?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, anything to talk about girl empowerment. I had a reflection when I did a post on Facebook. I was like, gosh, I really am at this, because when people come in my inbox, they're like, oh my gosh, everything is girl, 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 girl. What about the boys? And the funny thing is, I have so many nephews and so many boys in my family. Growing up, believe it or not, I was the only girl surrounded by like 8 boys. So I actually have more guy friends than I do girlfriends because of that. But either way, they still brought that life in me of standing up for myself and of empowering other women as well. So, so thank you for this opportunity. I know that you are one man who is a feminist, right? And I'm pretty sure you're not ashamed of saying that out loud. And so I honestly, no, really and truly, on a serious note, I thank you for this. It's really important, especially coming from a strong Black man, to stand there and say, this is what I believe in. We need to rally behind our sisters, our mothers, our wives, our friends. So really and truly, earGROUND, King BOAZ, really, thank you for this opportunity. And ladies, we are definitely doing something together. We are going to create some form of mentorship program, especially for the girl child in Zimbabwe. I'm sure we can collaborate, like you said, in sciences, in writing, in health and wellness. There's so much between our 3 industries that we can bring up, so many things that are stigmatized in our culture and in Zimbabwe that can really take us far. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah. Right, Titi, last word, Titi.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Magda, lovely meeting you. Yvonne, lovely meeting you. Well, on a video kind of a platform, of course, but I've interacted with you several times on Twitter. But yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity and the chance to speak about the things we're passionate about, what we really love to do, what we enjoy to do. And for me, really, I hope we each get the chance and the opportunity to actualize our dreams, the things that we aspire for. And may that be a chance for us to give others opportunity. Because like we say, each one of us has a certain privilege that we have that someone from where we come from does not have. So I'm really hoping we get to be those women in society that will stand and say, I can empty my bag for this person because I can easily fill it up now. So yeah, thank you so much again for the opportunity, BOAZ. Thank you for the amazing work. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Yvonne.
Thank you for having me in Naruto. I see everyone is calling you Boaz, and I'm thinking, who is Boaz? Naruto. I don't know where Boaz comes from. I know Naruto Komede. But anyway,
What is my name?
anyway, thank you for having me. Like, I had an interview earlier today, and I said what I'm going to say now. I don't take those opportunities for granted, because then my voice is going to be heard by someone. Then that person might actually, you know, take something from it and end up helping out or support our campaigns. Or so I don't take those platforms for granted. So I truly, truly appreciate this opportunity. I know I say a lot of nonsense on social media, but that 10% when I'm serious, I'm really serious. So yeah, thank you for having me. To all women out there, we are so capable, and the future is female. We are, yeah, we're going to make it. We just need to help each other. Let's not leave each other behind. As you go up, just take one sister up with you. You're really not going to lose anything. Yesterday I tweeted, there's more happiness in giving than in receiving. There really is so much that you get by giving. Whether it's information, it's not always money. Whatever you're given, I've learned so much by just sharing a bit of something I knew, and then someone will be like, then they share what they also know, and other people share, and I end up gaining so much. So yeah, can we just keep giving? It doesn't have to be money. Just give your time, mentor someone, give information, help someone apply for a scholarship, share opportunities. Just give. And that applies to men as well. It's not just for the women. So yeah, thank you for having me. And nice meeting you, Max.
Awesome.
Very
Thank you
nice
so
meeting
much, ladies, and to everyone out there, male or female. Let's support women whichever way we can. This doesn't stop because August has ended. Let it be something that we do every day, because these are women we work with, we live with, women we interact with, women who gives us services in many different aspects of life, in supermarkets, in engineering, in sport. Let us respect them for what they are doing, not for their gender. So thank you so much. This was King BOAZ, earGROUND. We are out.
earGROUND Radio. New voices amplified.